This time at the Quick Speed Shop, it's springtime. Let's start busting vehicles out. Let's get out my 1946 Studebaker M Series truck. We'll fire it up, take a look at it, and go down and get some gas. First fill up of the season. It's starting right now. Bam. So if you've been here before, you've seen this before. It's a little dark in here, but we'll get it out in the sunlight. It's my 1946 Studebaker M5 truck. I've had this truck for 30 years. I started working on it when I was like 13 or 14 in 1993. And well, yeah, that's 30 years. Today, this year's 30 years. And it's kind of been different build styles over the, right now it's still in black primer. It was in gray primer forever. Originally it started as like a 90s street rod and I smoothed it all out. And then shaved the bumpers, I had a custom box on it and stuff. And now I've gone more like resto mod. Original style box, original fenders, some steel wheels with high dome beanie hubcaps. It's still got the custom dash I built in the 90s for it. I'm going to put a stock dash back in it here eventually when I eventually want to paint it the original dark green, but it's more like resto mod style now. It's got an AMC 258 straight 6 in the engine. We'll take a look at that in a second. But I think I want to do is fire it up and drive it on out. We'll put some air in the tires and we'll go to town because I've been siphoning gas out of it all winter, using it for a gas can, and I think it's almost out of gas. It's got a custom tank under the bed. So yeah, let's fire it up and pull it on out. It should start. Started last time I tried it. She'll start. You need these. It's from the movie Christine. Let's give her a go here. Uh-oh. Whoa, there we go. Oh, I got more fuel than I thought I did. So we'll let her warm up for a second. We'll pull on out. Look out. I can't see anything. The sun's in my eyeballs. Where's my sunglasses? She's in here bleeding a little bit of red. The transmission leaks down a little bit. 727. AMC 727. But here we go. Out in the sun. Oh, it's still covered with bugs from last year. Great. I checked the tire pressure. The paint. Well, I'm in the shot. The paint's pretty grungy. And you see here, an epoxy primer that years and years ago, 25 years ago, and it was super hard. It was out in the sun for a long time, and the paint's chipping off it. I've got to go and I've got to strip this whole thing right down to bare metal and re-epoxy and start over, finish the body work, and then I can paint it. Man, I got a new Chinese carburetor on here, but she's idle and awful freaking rich. I can smell it. You might have been able to see it in the video. It was puffing, but ooh, that's hot. Yeah, she's idle and rich. I have to try to play with that. Get the richness up a little bit, but let's fire it up and take it into town and get some gasoline. This engine's super. Oh. Yeah, I gotta play this carburetor's messed up. Running rich, super rich. Can hear it. Oop, my inspection's due next month. Gotta remember that. So my goal with this truck this year is to clean it up and drive it, but I do have a dashboard I want to swap. The odometer broke in this thing and it stopped recording mileage like at 28,834 a few years ago. Now I'm up to like 33,400. I'm just doing the math trying to guess, but I have another one of these speedometers that I might be able to advance to run it there, but I want to put the original dash in, which has the speedometer here. I could do that. I don't know. I haven't got figure out what I'm going to do yet, but let's blow up the tires and stuff and I'll go for a spin. we got here for the engine is the old AMC 258. It's out of 83 AMC Spirit GT. Here's the date here in the head, 83. And I got this new Chinese carburetor from eBay, $71 or 72 bucks. I did a video on that a couple years ago on the channel. And I want to play the idle mixtures, crank them in a little bit. But the engine is super tired. It's got a lot of blow by. That's why it's kind of leaky. But it's got untold miles. Well, I had a $120 on it when I put it in here. And it's probably got another like 10 on it. So, no, it's got to have more than that. It's probably about a 140, 150, but it's got blow by. The people probably didn't change oil a lot in it, like some of these AMCs. People didn't take care of them, and they got blow by. And this one's got a little bit. I actually got an oil catch can to catch the vapors out of the valve cover, but it runs okay. I've got a 86 motor I want to do for this. Maybe put a 4-liter head on it. Do make like a hopped up 258, or you could do the stroker with a 4-liter block with a cranking rods from a 258, make a 4.6 stroker 6. That'd be pretty cool. It ain't running too bad now. We can play with the mixture just a little bit here. Yeah, see, that's all the way in, just about that one. That screw is just about all the way in too, so it's running fat at idle where it doesn't even need the Ellis. It needs shutting the air right off doesn't help it. Seems to run pretty strong, but it's real rich at idle. It's like it's not on the transfer circuit, down the idle circuit, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to tinker that later. It's got a little bit of a vacuum whistle when I come off throughout idle. Here, that's got a little bit of a vacuum. That's probably around the throttle shaft bushings are probably not the tightest quality. I mean, it's running okay. So let me blow up the tires, check that. And I just changed oil back in November, I see, on the oil filter. So let's take a little trip to the gas station. All aired up, here we go. Let's go to town and get some gas. So even though the 258's worn out, it's got a lot of torque and get up and go. And this transmission, I'm pretty sure I put a shift kit in it. It shifts nice and firm. So for 110 horsepower or whatever, the 258 is 112 horsepower. This truck, I don't know, probably weighs like 3,700 pounds. It's not too bad. Goes right down the road, not too bad. That sounds like an old UPS truck. So it's a little wind noisy in here. It's not too bad, but there's a lot of wind noise with the doors. The doors don't seal up very good. And eventually I want to put a whole interior in this, paint the dash, or well, put original dash in. I added all this bottom on here, and I molded all this in. There should be a glove box here. There should be panels up here. I molded all that in. I've got like 3 or 4 original dashes. I had a couple sandblasted, so I have some sets of original gauges and all that. I'd like to put the original gauges in. I'd probably keep these gauges like in a panel down below, just because they work good with the engine, but I could have the original speedometer and stuff and kind of make this look more like, what do you call it? Resto rod. I got to take this windshield out, put original windshield in it. This windshield is tinted and it's a real bear to see in the dark. I shouldn't have done that. It's tinted gray. And I glued it on with urethane on the outside. So I'm going to have original glass recut, get a new gasket, and have it put in the right way. It should be on this windshield moldings, and then I could put the center strip, the piece of chrome in the center. I'd like to be able to run a visor, old 40s visor on it if I could, and I need the center strip to do that, so that's one of the reasons why I want to do that. Oh, got a car coming. Hold on a minute. We'll get down on the 258 here and see how it goes. This guy's not going very fast. Oh, got rubber in second. Yeah, I put a shift kit in this, so it'll chirp them in second going around the corner. It's got a Mopar Dodge 8 3/4 rear end, 66 Plymouth rear end, but 323 sure grip, so it'll chirp the inside tire going around corners. This thing's got all the parts, all the business. Like I said, coming up on 30 years, well, it is 30 years of working on this truck in 93 to 2023. It's been all over the place. I worked on it in high school. I didn't get it on the road by the time I went to high school, but I drove it in college a little bit. And then after that, I pretty much been on the road since 1999, so 27 years on the road. And this is the second engine. I had originally I used the Poly Block 318 Mopar motor. The whole drivetrain came out of a 66 Plymouth. So I had the Poly 318, 727, and 8 3/4 rear end, which is still in the truck. And then in about 2008 or 9 or something like that, I took the, no, I had been before that. 2006 or 7, I took the 318 out and I put in the AMC 258. And that's been in there ever since. This truck had a flathead 6 in it originally. So now it's got an overhead valve 6. And it was in gray primer then. Now it's in black primer. Like I said, eventually it'll be painted original green with a tan interior. But not right now. Don't have time to finish it. Just been driving it. And it's been everywhere. Like I said, it's a little wind noisy in here. It doesn't have the best seals. I gotta get new rubber for the wing windows and stuff. It'll seal up better. These trucks weren't meant to run 70 miles an hour down the highway like nowadays. They're meant to be used around town back in the day, like 45 and stuff. And so will be desired creature comfort-wise. But like I said, I've had it to South Bend, Indiana. I've had a truck to South Bend, Indiana to the Studebaker Museum. Oh, there's a deck lid on the side of the road from some car. Oh, it's a hood. There's a hood on the side of the road. Why is that there? Anyways, I've been to South Bend, Indiana, York, Pennsylvania, Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, Hershey, Pennsylvania, Syracuse, New York, all over the place. And knock on wood, I haven't had any trouble with it at all, except for just using worn out parts and like leaking a little bit of oil and transmission fluid. I really haven't had any trouble with it. Just plugging down the road. Just another day plugging down the road in an old Studebaker truck. Made it back before it got too dark. It's a little chilly, but not too bad. Here's just a little history lesson. The Willys Jeep here that my dad and I cut firewood on for years used to park in my dad's barn. And this truck back in the 70s was in original condition in there, and it sat for years. That's when I first started working on it, when it was in there. And so these two have been together for, that was probably 75, 74, 75. So these two trucks have been near each other for like almost 50 years now. But what I want to do, one of the first things I want to do this year on this truck is there's a filler panel that goes in here that bolts onto the bottom of the box and goes down to the running board. And this box is off another truck, and I never put it on there, and it looks So it should be on there. So I'm going to make those just out of flat sheet metal and put them on there. This Dodge, this bed is actually off a Dodge, but it's made by Bud, and it's the same Dodge and Studebaker used the same Bud beds back in the late 30s and early 40s. So it's a little shorter in the back being a Dodge, and I had to widen it a couple inches to fit the Studebaker trailer, but I made the rear bumper. This would have had a chrome rear bumper to match the front bumper. I made that. Original fenders, original running boards, actually like 3 sets of running boards pieced together to make one. All the original sheet metal in this truck is from this original truck. And the rear bumper would have looked like that. I have it up in the attic, but I made that rear bumper so I could have a trailer hitch. I added the accessory hood ornament. This truck came with just a smooth hood ornament. But there it is. Just a little quick trip with the 46 Studebaker truck to get some gas. It's springtime. I'm starting to get vehicles out, so there's going to be more firing things up, getting them out and driving them around. I hope you'll stay tuned for that, and we'll have more fun car stuff here for you this spring at the Quick Speed Shop.